Hello everybody, my name is Zen and welcome back to more of our Wildstar beta coverage where we are going to be taking a look at the second Dominion starting zone called Levian Bay, and of course just like the other one, it starts off with a little cinematic.
The Elven facility that holds the Elder Cube is directly ahead. We'll meet you at the rendezvous point. And remember, failure is not good for my ratings. Please do your best not to botch this up.
So right away, we have quite a bit to talk about with this zone. I mean, first of all, it is way more unique in the way that it actually looks in comparison with Crimson Bay, which is the previous zone that we've done. But as far as the actual story, it's different. It's a lot different because, I mean, in the other one, you have the Chua as kind of like the primary source of the story there. And the Chua are kind of crazy. They're like the goblins from Warcraft. They like to blow crap up. And it's pretty fun being a Chua because they're a little nuts. However, with this area, it's a bit more focused on one person that you meet during the tutorial area, which is Artemis Zinn, and she's kind of like a TV personality to the actual Dominion. It's kind of a cool way to go about it because you got to remember this game is set in a sci-fi universe, therefore they have some sci-fi elements in there, like the TV type personalities, the spaceships and stuff like that. But it also has a few fantasy ideas in there too, like some of the Esper magic and whatnot. Either way, it's a pretty cool like mashup of how the story works there, and we'll talk about that more in a second. I did want to notice the actual look of this area because I mentioned it is completely different than Crimson Isle. It's kind of got this like London, North Europe kind of rainy vibe to it, and I like that a lot. I really do. I think it's cool to have a completely different looking zone compared to Crimson Isle, but the way that they've gone about this one is just absurdly good. From my understanding, I understand that it's completely difficult and incredibly challenging to make fog in an MMO. And a zone that has fog, where you can only see a certain distance, because there's a lot of technical challenges that come along with that, according to frame rate and stuff like that. But they've managed to do it with their engine. You gotta remember, they've built their engine from the ground up, and as you see here, you get that fog, you get that idea that you are in a rainy zone and there is some weather going on, and it does change throughout the zone. Like you get that here, but as you move further along, you get less of the fog, so you get a feel like the actual weather is changing, which I'm pretty sure they have the technology to do that, to change the weather on the fly, but they just don't use it in the starting zones. But it's a cool concept. And like I said, it's very difficult to be able to do that within an engine. So I'm pretty sure, because they've built the engine from the ground up for this game specifically, that they've managed to pop in a lot of really cool stuff like that. And they've done a very good job of it. I mean, there's no arguing there that this engine works really well. They have to optimize it a bit, as I've said previously. People who are seeing low frame rates in the beta will probably see medium to high frame rates in the actual launch of the game, and further along as they continue to optimize the engine, just as we did in Star Wars and Warcraft and any other game along the way. So it's going to be exciting to see how this game actually looks on full settings. Remember, this game is set down right now to about medium as far as the settings go, so it's probably going to look gorgeous with high settings, and I can't wait for that. Now let's talk a little bit more about Artemis Zinn, because we're doing more of the quests for her now. She's, like I said, she's got that TV personality, and you do get introduced to her pretty early on as being that kind of TV diva, and she addresses a lot of the Dominion. And it's really fun to have a character like that you can kind of get attached to, because you constantly are seeing her throughout the leveling experience. And I've only gotten into the 20s right now with one of my highest characters, but it's strange to see a character that you will constantly see throughout the game be such a unique aspect of the game. You know, like I said, the TV personality. It's unique. You don't really see that. Usually, you see like a leader. You know, you'd see like the emperor of the Dominion or a massive leader, and you see that kind of stuff in Warcraft all the time. But to have a minor character, well, at least in my opinion, she's a minor character. You know, she's not leading the Dominion, even though she is a major character within the story. It's fun to be able to follow the progression of her character and the story there. Even though, as I've said before, the storytelling in Wildstar isn't as good as something like Star Wars, for example, or even, you know, the Secret World has better storytelling. It's just the way that they present it. It's not that Wildstar's story is bad, it's just that it's not as good as presenting the story as other games are. And we're a little spoiled by things like the Secret World and Star Wars and games like that, because they're good at, you know, presenting stories. Then again, you got to give BioWare credit. That's what they do. You know, they come up with Mass Effect and Dragon Age and, you know, Baldur's Gate, stuff like that. You got to give them credit that they present the story in a very good way, and that's what they've gotten good at. So you can't really blame Wildstar for not having that in the game, you know, full voice acting. But they do present Artemis in a cool light. You do get to know her, you know, even on a base level, you get to know her pretty well without even having to do a lot of her quests and read through all the quest text. So it's fun. Either way, I like how the zone changes, because you're in that, like, you know, rainy thing going on at the beginning with the fog, and then you move up into this, you know, ship for the Elden, and you get to explore a little bit of the story there. You get to see the caretaker, which is a guy that you know you'll see pop up every now and then in the story, and he's also the one that gives you the adventures, the quest for the adventures, and sets those out. So it's cool to be introduced to all this really early. It's a good setup for the rest of the game. I think this starting zone, as much as I like Crimson Isle and I like the zone after that, I have fallen in love with Levian Bay and its following zone, simply because, you know, I think I may have done Crimson Isle too much with its other zone. So I've kind of, you know, worn myself out on it. So I'm starting to fall in love with Levian Bay and stuff. It has a unique story, which I like, and it's also got a unique look, which I like as well. It changes a lot as you go through it. It's not just, you know, reds and oranges and browns like the other zone is. It does have some various, you know, changes that you'll notice. Like right now I'm in this weird cave, which isn't anything like we've seen in the other parts of the zone. So I feel like it changes it up a bit more. Although at first it is harder to get into. I don't like the quests as much at first. In the second zone that you go to coming up here, I think the quests there are a lot better once you know, get out of this zone. But for the most part, I think the quests in Crimson Isle and stuff feel more chained. They're easier to go through. They connect a lot more. This one, it feels, at first, you know, the first time you're doing it, it feels a little discombobulated, and like they don't really connect too well. But once you kind of figure out the flow of where all the quests go, it's a lot better. So your first time playing it, you may not like Levian Bay as much as Crimson Isle, but I assure you, once you play through it, you learn the quest, you'll have a lot more fun with it. Plus, there's just as many challenges, if not one more. I think there might be one more than what there is in the Crimson Isle. So if you like the challenges, it's fun, it's cool, and you know, you get the additional bag from that if you get lucky with the roll and you finish the challenge. So there's additional things to why you should do Levian Bay. I would, however, at launch suggest doing both. Or if you get into a beta weekend, I would suggest doing both of them, because I think both zones are very well done. I think they both hold their own, and they're both really cool looking too, which is something that you don't necessarily see in MMOs. Like the zones per zone here change drastically every time you go to a new zone, and I like that. It gives you something new to experience. You know, you're always looking forward to the next zone because you have no idea what it's going to be. Reminds me of the Outlands when Burning Crusade came out for Warcraft, which is a good feeling. I like that a lot. But now we have another cinematic.
Cambot 1, Cambot 2, you getting this? Ladies and gentlemen of the Dominion, I present the Elder Cube.
Input accepted. Initiating Elder Cube interface. Please stand by.
Standing by is not really my style. By the gods, you are beautiful.
Security threats detected. Isolation protocols engaged. Priority Alpha, please stand by.
What? No! I was so close!
So there you go. That leads into kind of the rest of the story for the Dominion on Nexus, which is trying to learn about the secrets of the Elden, which are kind of their ancient people that were super technologically advanced, and basically the Dominion worship them, basically. I mean, that's at a base level, that's how it is. So right there, Artemisen thought that it was right there, you know, the secrets of the Elden were right there. She had the Elder Cube, she could learn a whole lot, but it just fell out of her hands. You know, it's a cool story because then it continues on as you go throughout the game, and you kind of have to learn what you're doing with all of that and trying to learn about the Elden, especially for the Dominion. I like it. I did want to mention that you don't only see Artemisen in this zone. She's also in the Crimson Bay area. Not Crimson Bay itself, but as you go through that whole zone progression, you go to the next one, you'll come across her. So it's not like she's only on this side. And she does continue throughout the story as well. So just so you know, if you go to Crimson Bay, you won't miss out there. The last thing that you see in the zone is this cool robot fight. It is a public event, but I had another person here that was helping me, so we totally own it, and it is pretty easy with 2 people. But for a single person, it is kind of cool just to be able to, you know, try to do the actual quests here by yourself, because it does last for maybe a couple more seconds at the very least, and you get to see some of the abilities that this robot does. But with all of that being said, I really want you guys to try out these starter areas. Try both of them out. I think you'll really enjoy them. I think you'll enjoy the quests afterwards. And then once you get past these next 2 zones, it does kind of converge, which it's fun because then you get to play with your friends if you didn't go to the same zone. I think you guys will really like it. But we shall see you guys next time.
I'd truly rather depart in anything else, but this is the best I could do on short notice. And if anyone sees me in this hunk of exiled junk, it was all your idea.